as I've been saying, Evander Holyfield should not be fighting, and this fight proved it. Evander Holyfield just got easily dealt with by Vitor Belfort. Now, the stoppage was controversial. Would this kind of stoppage happen if there was an elite professional boxer in there? No, but you have to believe that the ref understood that Evander Holyfield is not only nearly 60 years old, but the guy was throwing punches and losing balance, literally falling on the floor trying to land his power shots. He doesn't even have the balance to throw punches. He has the body of an older man. And he got dropped by an uppercut. He got stunned and swarmed by Vitor Belfort, and it just was clear that Vitor was much more physically capable than Evander Holyfield. If Holyfield came into that fight and actually showed something, if he showed that he can keep up with Vitor physically, I guarantee the ref would not have called it off as fast as he did. He saw an old man in there that was in danger. I agree with the referee stoppage in that aspect, and TRT Vitor Belfort looked very imposing in there, man. He looked fast for his age, powerful for his age. When he hit Evander, he got a big reaction every single time. There was a clear gap in physical ability here. Evander is one of the greatest boxers of all time. He's clearly the more skilled boxer, or at least he has more knowledge of the game, but that doesn't trump youth to that extent. Maybe if you're 5 years older, rare if you're 10 years older, but 14 to 15 years is pushing it, man. And I'm actually glad that Evander Holyfield can leave this fight not hurt, not injured, because he was going to get hurt if the fight played out even more. This fight was honestly one of the saddest things I've ever seen, and we all understand probably why Evander Holyfield took this fight. He came into this for one reason and one reason only, and he got out of there with the goal that he had, without taking any serious damage. In my opinion, that's a win for Evander Holyfield. I understand he's upset. Nobody wants to lose a fight, especially in a fight that they believe that they weren't hurt in, and they had a chance at least. Evander Holyfield still has that fighting spirit in him. So I do feel for Evander when it comes to that he wanted to go out on his shield if he was going to go out. But the ref does have a job to see that if a fighter is in danger like that, they have to step in and save the fighter from themselves. He fought a monster who was 14 years younger than he was, who is known in his sport. Vitor Belfort is known throughout the entire MMA world to be one of the most horrific punchers when it comes to blitzing speed and devastating power, especially this form of Vitor, who is clearly, in my opinion, not natty at all. And the speed factor shown in the fight, every time he ducked under on Evander Holyfield, Evander actually went to pull away. He thought the big left hand was going to come. But as a lot of people from boxing that don't know about Vitor Belfort is, yes, you see his highlights and you see him blitz down opponents and knock them out senseless, but he is extremely patient, and that's what he showed in this fight as well. He's always been this way. He's more of a counter puncher than anything, or he swarms you if he sees that you're hurt, but he takes it all in strides. So when he was taking the outside foot advantage, being the southpaw against orthodox fighter, he just ducked in to get a reaction out of Evander. Evander pulled away thinking it was going to be a left overhand, and he had to pivot away. But you also do notice that Evander lowered his guard, which would have been an opportunity for Vitor later in the fight if it started to play out even more. If that stoppage didn't happen, there's an opportunity for Vitor to read the situation yet again and find that big left overhand, because he just saw Evander lower his right hand. And you'll also notice that Vitor reads another situation. When he started to blitz down on Evander Holyfield, Evander had a very tight guard, ducked into Vitor to smother the output, close in the distance as much as possible, and Vitor's punches didn't have the same kind of leverage. So when they separated again, Vitor downloaded that data and used it against Evander Holyfield. So when he moves in, given that look like he's going to swarm him, Evander does the same thing, but as he ducks in and moves into Vitor, Vitor hops away. He hops in and hops away, finds that distance, he misses the uppercut but does land the right hook. This is what tells me that Vitor eventually would have found that left overhand on Evander Holyfield. I mean, there was an uppercut knockdown, and yes, it was a knockdown, and the speed was so much where there was a point where Vitor just swung out a naked, no mask, no setup, a naked left overhand, and Evander saw it way too late, caught him right down the center, and that was pretty much the beginning of the swarming before the ref called it off. And I agree with him, man. I don't want to see Evander get hurt. If Evander Holyfield shows something before the finish, before the ref called it off, if he actually showed to be somewhat capable in there, then the ref probably would have held off a bit and allowed Evander to fight his way out of there. But the fact that he saw him trip because he threw a punch, get dropped already, and hurt before the fight was officially called off, how can you not agree with that? For anybody who thinks that the fight should have went out any longer, you're a menace. Or are you just looking at the fight as a usual, your typical boxing match between two competitors, and you're just looking at it with blank faces? Either that or you like to see old men get beat up. But I hope this shows the commission from now on that Evander Holyfield should not be able to step into the ring again, especially up against a guy who is so much younger than him and fresher than him when it comes to combat. I'm not gonna lie though, it was very fun and refreshing to see TRT Vitor again. Better shape he's been in like the last 7 years. He looked fast, he was powerful, he was strong, see how wide his back is and everything. I mean, this was the destroyer of the MMA world. He just aged a little bit. So who I'd like to see Vitor fight next? They could put together Vitor and Anderson Silva. That wouldn't be bad, but there's a lot of good matchups for Vitor Belfort. Him versus Roy Jones Jr. would be interesting, or even against Mike Tyson. I mean, there's a lot of these matchups that would be extremely enticing.